The Young and the Restless. Today, while Audra tries to influence Elena, Amanda confronts Devon at the hearing, and Victor calls Jill out to the ranch. Jill has arrived at the ranch and informed Victor that she had made his residence her first stop because of the urgency of his message. She expresses concern that she will be late to the arbitration. That's why Victor is so confident in his time. Nate enters the office of Victoria. She's excited to have him there and plans to ask him about the finances. Nate would like to change the subject for a moment. Victoria approaches and stands in front of him, asking if there is anything she can do to ease his distress. Audra watches them in the hallway, then leaves. Amanda tells Devon in court that representing Lily was an easy decision because she drafted the merger and no one else is as familiar with its intricacies. Only Lily and I, Devon quips in response. Amanda claims she was on the front lines, making sure everything was in order. Seeing how much time Devon invested in Hamilton Winters, he believes it is more about right and wrong and the past. Do you not recall all of the lengthy chats we had about Neil? Amanda asks, knowing this to be true. Devon's being there, proclaiming his allegiance, is funny to her. Assuming that this is about her, Devon asks whether it is about revenge. The advice Amanda gives him is to stop being so proud of himself. Even if he does lose, it will be fun to watch. As soon as Christine walks in, she ushers Devon inside. Chris advises her client not to let them get under his skin, because he appears to be shaken as they enter the hearing room. Devon is playing them for fools by appearing vulnerable. The arbitrator enters and then Amanda and Lily. She asks whether everyone is ready to begin. Devon has noticed that Jill is absent. When Amanda is free from her work responsibilities, she plans to join them. When Elena enters Newman Media, Audra is currently sitting at her desk. Nate, she surmises, is off having a talk with Victoria. Audra agrees and recommends they grab some coffee. Nate in the main office expresses his hope that the events of the day would not alter the dynamic of the team by telling Victoria that he is sorry. Victoria tries to soothe him and apologizes for her behavior. In case I upset you, please accept my apologies. Nate catches her off guard by telling her she need not apologize because he knows she wouldn't actually mean it. He responds to her with a grin on his face that he knows she doesn't think she crossed the line. With a chuckle, Victoria confesses that she doesn't. At the ranch, Victor confronts Jill about her plans to turn Lily against her brother Devon and start a battle with Devon over Hamilton Winters. Jill notes that they are both aware of the potential for hostility while dealing with relatives. She mentions that Devon agreed to the merger and expresses satisfaction with the current state of the business. Victor recognizes her desire to steer the company in a certain direction, but how would Catherine react if she knew she had set firm limits with her grandson? Jill observes that he's attempting to play the Catherine card. She prompts him to remember Catherine held numerous viewpoints with which I strongly disagree. While she misses Mom dearly, she could do without her constant nagging about the business. When Catherine dies, she can settle this dispute there. She informs Victor that all attempts to negotiate a settlement were rejected by Devon and that he is not in a good legal position. Victor is concerned that this may strain her friendship with Devon. With a nod, Jill agrees. Victor invited her there in the hopes of presenting her with an option. Christine argues at the hearing that the foundation of Hamilton Winters is family. The two of them are in a conversation regarding Devon and Neil's relationship, and Amanda smirks as she does so. Chris says the opposition used his feelings to get Devon to agree to the merger. They insisted on an initial public offering for the family business not long after. Once Jill and Lily made it plain they had no interest in seeing the dream they sold Devon come true, Devon objected and attempted to break the merger amicably. He is content to simply inherit the business he and his dad started. When they sit on the patio of Crimson Lights, Elena prays that Audra doesn't misinterpret her frustration with Nate's work schedule as signs of jealousy or insecurity. Audra believes she has reason to wonder what is transpiring between Nate and Victoria. It's getting me some cause for concern. Elena is aware of how well they collaborate together. Audra doesn't mean to be insensitive, but she does feel that the depth of Nate and Victoria's connection could be a bit much. It's not like a typical relationship between a company and its workers, the speaker said. She says they are always hanging out and she isn't sure they're always paying attention to the task at hand. She says, I think there's more going on, and Elena asks if that's what she means. As for Audra's response, she says, "I'm guessing there's a lot more." To Nate, Victoria explains at Newman that they are now legal adults with undeniable sexual chemistry. She wishes they could have discovered its explosive potential, but she acknowledges that their circumstances are different. There is a degree of independence she enjoys that he does not presently. "You made your choice," she says. "In that case, my utmost respect." Nate will probably take her word for it. As strong as their attraction may be, Victoria is confident they can learn to manage it. While working at Crimson Lights, Elena admires Audra's forthrightness. Therefore, what? Are you suggesting that they are having an extramarital affair? Audra has no idea if anything physical has actually occurred, but she has a feeling that it is. As far as Elena is concerned, there is no good reason for Nate to risk their newly found happiness together. To hear Audra tell it, some men are just born that way. Elena reveals that they were already in relationships before to their current one. Audra is not the type to sit on her hands, so she assumes Elena is the same way. Neither Victoria nor Elena are surprised by Nate's dedication to his work. The tables are turned and she now controls him. Perhaps Audra can suggest a way to alter things to benefit Elena. When Jill visits Victor at the ranch, he reveals that Devon is anxious about her plan to take the company public. According to Jill, that was the final straw. Victor insists he can appreciate Devon's desire to rehire Hamilton Winters if that's the case. The suggestion that she hadn't given this any consideration enrages Jill, and she shows it. She probes for details on the option he mentioned. Victor is confident that his proposal will appeal to her. As Devon and his father built the company, Amanda praised their efforts at the hearing, but she said the reasons why Devon opted to merge were irrelevant. He signed a legal document, but it didn't say that the business had to remain secret. According to her, he is essentially asking the court to help him break his contract. She's furious that he wants to scrap the whole operation and possibly inflict permanent harm to the business as it stands. Audra tells her friends at Crimson Lights that she has done extensive research on Victoria and that her life has been quite eventful. Elena has admitted that she kept up with the controversy involving Nate's manipulator Ashlyn Locke. Audra tells the narrative of what happened to her true love after discussing Billy. "Are you referring to J.T. Hellstrom?" Elena inquires. In this scene, Audra inquires of Elena about her familiarity with Hellstrom. The story was all Elena needed to know, and it turned out that he had a brain tumor. Audra speculates that he could make for a fascinating case study. As the saying goes, I did my study into JT as well. Now that he's out of jail, his story should be told. You may use it as fodder for your medical podcast. Amanda testifies that the merger negotiations were not unilateral. The rules cannot be altered during play. Her final words to Devon were, "There's only one person guilty of breaking the Chancellor Winters deal, and that's you. Keep it together." Christine says quietly to her client, and Devon requests a lunch break. So says the arbitrator. Amanda and Lily are having coffee in a booth together. Amanda assures her that things are progressing normally with the case. Because to the fact that their approach is causing Devon distress, Lily is torn. "I got the impression that you were making a personal and professional attack on him." Amanda insists that she must resort to all means necessary to accomplish her goal. In other words, she tells Lily that Devon has only himself to blame. Elena asks Audra on the patio, "You think I should bring JT to town to interview him about his medical history?" The idea sounds like a fantastic way for Audra to launch her podcast, so she's considering doing it. Elena has no interest in using someone for publicity. To Audra's mind, it's a win-win situation that would help everyone. Furthermore, it would provide her with a chance to collaborate closely with Nate. You never know how Victoria will react if you investigate JT's backstory. Perhaps love like theirs can last forever. Jill claims to have given the IPO her whole attention back at the ranch, and she takes offense at any suggestion to the contrary. Victor has considered taking Newman public on multiple occasions, but he prefers to make such decisions alone. He concludes that financial concerns lie at the heart of the issue, and advises that she find alternative means of raising capital to allow Devon to keep his stake in the business. Jill presses for additional detail, and he complies. Victor is referring to a private investor who would play no role in management. Indeed, they would put that promise in writing. It's safe for Jill to presume he has someone specific in mind. During their conversation about money, Victoria mentions that Lily and Devon's hearing begins this morning at 7:30, and Nate reveals that he is having difficulties concentrating because of it. He wishes there was anything he could do to help his cousins. Devon explains to Christine in Society why he had to call a break. It's simply that Amanda seems to take great pleasure in poking fun at him, and Lily allows her to do so without retaliation. He found that when the attacks became personal, it was far more difficult to remain silent. Amanda's only desire is to see all he's worked for go up in flames. Chris advises him that it would be better for their case if he expressed his emotions to her in private rather than at arbitration. Devon wants to know if Christine was able to get a read on her. What did you think of it? Chris' expression drops. Elena, while sitting on the terrace of the coffee shop, is lured by the thought of diverting Victoria's attention to herself and reuniting intimately with Nate. Audra considers it a win-win situation for all parties involved. As for Elena, she acknowledges the podcast's benefits while noting a potential drawback. She doesn't want to play a game with Victoria's feelings that would include reliving trauma in order to dissuade her from pursuing her partner, because she knows it's wrong. Audra assures her that she did not intend to imply such a thing, and that she is right. The incident in question belongs in the past. Elena expresses gratitude for the discussion and informs Audra that their talk has given her plenty to consider. While at Newman, Victoria has learned to empathize with Nate and his desire to correct past wrongs for his family. She thinks it a huge win that she was able to persuade Nick to rejoin the business. Nate reflects on how he contributed significantly to the failure of the family firm. Victoria has high hopes that he can mend their relationship. The moral compass he possesses is refreshing, she informs him. Even though we're not together, he queries. Victoria tells him to be gentle with himself about what happened at Chancellor Winters because he was irritated. Nate appreciates her help, but he knows not everyone shares his opinion. In Crimson Lights, Amanda tells Lily that she is entitled to all of her recent success, and that Devon is only out to steal it for himself. Lily, the way he tore apart everything you and he had. It's something that Amanda freely admits. That's something she's capitalizing on. This, Lily insists, is not about her exacting revenge on her sibling. Amanda points out that it's too late to change her mind now that she's consented to her techniques. Lily sighs and says, I don't know. Amanda claims that she is at her best and happiest in this setting. You could be conflicted, but Jill isn't. She insists that Chancellor Winters be kept together, and I plan to make that happen. Victor at the ranch cannot permit the ruin of the business Neil and Devon have built. Now that Devon cares more about Abby and his grandchild, he wants to make sure his legacy lives on through them. He's prepared to give Jill the compensation she demands for Chancellor.